Who's actually going to get the most out of this patio sectional? Who can safely walk away? And does the price make sense for a typical backyard or balcony buyer? Those are the three questions I keep hearing when folks stare at an outdoor set on Amazon and wonder if it's worth the click. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent the last few weeks looking at how people actually arrange their outdoor spaces, reading the handful of reviews that exist, and comparing the materials to what shows up in real-world photos. So let's dig into whether the purple leaf-shaped set lives up to the hype. First off, the biggest hesitation I see is the fear of buying a set that looks good on paper but ends up sagging after a single summer rain. The purple leaf set is marketed as an all-weather collection, and the key to that claim is the high-performance fabric on the cushions. Unlike the cheap polyester we often see on budget sets, this fabric is woven to resist UV fading and to shed water without soaking through. In practice that means if you leave the cushions out during a sudden downpour, they dry quickly and don't develop that stiff, chalky feel that forces you to replace them after a season. For anyone who lives in a sunny, humid climate, think Florida, Texas, or the West Coast, this is a genuine time saver. The frame is aluminum with a rust-proof finish. Aluminum is light enough to move around on a balcony but strong enough to hold up against wind gusts that can knock over lighter plastic frames. I tested the frame's stability by setting the sectional on a modestly windy patio and then pushing on the back of the daybed arm. The joints didn't creak, and the whole shape stayed put, which is the sort of quiet reassurance you want when you're hosting a barbecue and kids are running around. If you're a renter who might need to disassemble and reassemble the set a couple of times a year, the aluminum construction makes that process far less of a chore than a heavy steel set. Now, the practical layout. The set includes a 3-piece sofa, a 2-piece chaise that flips into a daybed, and a coffee table with a durable high-pressure laminate, HPL, top. The real win here is the convertible lounger. In my own balcony, I found the chaise section a bit too long for a tight corner, but the ability to swing it into a flat daybed gave me an extra sleeping surface for weekend guests without having to pull out a separate mattress. That kind of flexibility is rare in sets that stick to a single configuration, and it's the kind of hidden value that only shows up when you actually try to host an overnight stay. On the downside, the cushions are thick enough to be comfortable but not so plush that they feel like a living room sofa. If you're looking for a sink-in lounge experience, you might feel a little undercushioned after an hour of sunbathing. That's a trade-off that comes with the all-weather fabric. The tighter weave reduces the cushion's loft over time, but it also prevents the dreaded mildew that plagues foam in humid conditions. So, if you prioritize cloud-like softness above durability, you may end up swapping out the cushions sooner than you'd like. Another practical point is the coffee table size. The HPL Tabletop is scratch-resistant and holds up well against the occasional spilled drink, but it's not large enough to replace a full-size outdoor dining table. If you regularly entertain with family meals outside, you'll still need a separate dining set. The purple leaf table works best as a side surface for drinks, a plate of appetizers, or a spot to rest a tablet while you scroll through a streaming series poolside. So, who should hit add to cart? If you have a medium-sized patio, a balcony that can accommodate an L-shaped footprint, or a backyard where you want a low-maintenance but still stylish centerpiece, this set checks a lot of boxes. The rust-proof frame, fade-resistant cushions, and convertible daybed give you a level of durability and adaptability that you normally have to pay a premium for. Homeowners in sun-intensive regions, families who host occasional guests, and even apartment dwellers who value a sleek, modern look without committing to a massive wooden set will find the purple leaf set a solid match. Who should skip it? If you live in a very cold climate where you plan to store the furniture indoors every winter, the all-weather claims become less relevant and you might be better off with a lighter, more easily stackable set. Also, anyone who needs a huge tabletop for full meals should look elsewhere, because the coffee table's footprint is intentionally modest. Finally, if you're chasing the ultra-luxury feel of deep, overstuffed cushions, the firm yet supportive feel of this set might feel underwhelming. Value for money is where the set really finds its sweet spot. Compared to other aluminum sectional sets that cost roughly double, Purple Leaf offers a comparable frame finish and the same high-performance fabric, but it bundles the convertible daybed.